I was a sheriff's deputy for nearly 22 years in a quiet patch of northeast Pennsylvania. Not much ever happened here. A few bar fights, some family disputes. But there's one case I still think about every damn week. It started on a Tuesday, March 16th, 2004. A call came in just after 6 p.m. A woman named Elaine Hart reported that her 19-year-old daughter, Ally, hadn't come home from her evening class at the community college. She'd only had a 10-minute drive, 3 roads, all local. When I arrived at the Hart residence, Elaine was pacing on the porch in slippers, no coat. She said Ally had called her at 6:05 to say she was leaving school. That was the last time anyone heard from her. We began with the basics. Hospitals, local friends, tow logs. Nothing. Then we traced Ally's usual route. Just 3.5 miles. It was dusk when I found her car. It was parked awkwardly off the shoulder of Ridgeway Lane. Not crashed, not stuck, just sitting there. Keys still in the ignition. The driver door was closed, but not locked. Her purse was on the seat. That road, Ridgeway, it's the kind of place locals avoid after dark. It winds into thick woods, and there's barely enough room for 2 cars. No lights, no houses, except one. We'd driven past it 100 times. Old 2-story farmhouse, long abandoned. Everyone just called it the Walker place. We knocked. Out of protocol. No answer. The porch groaned like it hadn't held weight in years. But when I tried the front door, something surprised me. It was locked from the inside. Not bolted. Latched. That made no sense. No squatters ever did that. And this house didn't have power. We circled the building. Every window on the first floor was sealed, except one, back left basement window. Cracked open about 2 inches. Too small for someone to crawl through, but maybe just big enough to hear something. We came back the next morning with a warrant and backup. Forced entry through the back door. The place smelled like it'd been rotting for decades. Musty, cold, untouched, except one thing. On the 2nd floor, last room at the end of the hallway. The floorboards didn't creak when we stepped in. The windows had no dust. And on the wall, tacked with yellow pushpins, was a map of Ridgeway Lane, with a red marker dot right where Ally's car had been. We tore through that house, every drawer, every floorboard. In the attic, we found a makeshift cot, fresh sheet, a granola bar wrapper, and one Polaroid. It showed the back of a girl's head. Dark brown hair, wavy. She was walking. Her arms were down. She didn't know she was being followed. The timeline was tight. Whoever was using that house, they'd either vanished before dawn or watched us from the woods. We put out a bolo, set up trail cams. Nothing. Not a single hit. Elaine Hart came to the station every day for a week. Then, every Friday. Then, once a month. She stopped smiling. Her husband left. By 2006, their house was empty. We never found Ally. But here's where it gets worse. Every March for the next 3 years, someone placed a fresh daffodil on her windshield. Always on March 16th. Same type, same ribbon. We tried everything. Fingerprints, surveillance. But it was always left early, before sunrise. In 2009, we staked out the whole road. Unmarked cars, cameras, and we got something. At 4:03 a.m., a dark figure stepped out from the woods. Tall, thin, dressed in work boots and a faded hoodie. No face visible. But he or whoever it was, moved directly to a spot exactly where Ally's car had once been. They set down the flower, turned, and disappeared back into the woods. The footage was useless for ID, but we kept it. And every March since, no flowers, just silence. The old Walker house, it burned down in 2011. Arson, maybe. No evidence left. But I still remember that room, that clean floor, that photo, that red dot on the map. Sometimes I'd drive Ridgeway Lane alone, just to feel the quiet, just to listen, because I don't think whoever lived in that house was finished. And I don't think Ally was the first girl to go missing out there. I think she was the first one we noticed. This is Deputy Carl Hensley, retired now. But if you're from around here, don't stop on Ridgeway Lane. Not for anything. Even if you see a girl walking alone. Every story we share is hunted down from the darkest corners of the internet. Real encounters, chilling confessions, and mysteries that were never solved. We spend hours digging through archives, forums, and eyewitness accounts, just to bring you the most bone-chilling, heart-stopping tales. If you've made it this far, you're one of us. So hit subscribe now, because the next story might just haunt you forever, and you won't want to miss it.